Hi everyone. Hanging on that wall is a 16-pound largemouth bass. The lake we're coming to you from this week has some fish that big swimming around in it. We might not catch one of those, but we're going to do a couple of things we've never done before. Crazy things happening in the next half hour. We explain it all to you because Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air right now.
You're watching the only program with weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southeast region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
Hi everybody and welcome to this week's episode. It is pouring rain outside right now. We are stuck inside the Bunkhouse Lodge at famous Lake Fork Marina and Resort located in East Texas. Now, if you know anything at all about fishing, you know that Lake Fork is one of the best big bass fishing lakes anywhere in America. My good friend and lake guide, James Caldemeyer, has put me on a couple of patterns that are very unique. They don't happen often, and they're going to be a very interesting thing for us to talk about on this week's episode. And while I'm out on Lake Fork doing that, we're taking you around your local region for this week's fishing reports from our expert team of insider reporters. Get you current on what's happening in your area. We hope to get out on the lake while the shad are spawning. Now, what do shad spawning have to do with bass fishing? We're going to explain that coming up next. Right now, let's get you back to the FSN studios to get things started with your weekend planner.
The Salooner tables are indicating fair conditions for both days of the weekend. And there's a great opportunity for some early night fishing with peak evening hours starting at 9:35 on Saturday and 10:19 on Sunday. The sun will rise at 6:19 and set at 8:32. And evenings will be lit by a moon that is 72% visible. We're coming right back with fishing updates from around the area. And I'll return with 2016 Classic champion Edwin Evers to answer this week's Ask the Pro question. Stay with us.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than a boat, it's a tracker. Mercury Marine, go boldly. Lowrance Electronics, celebrating 60 years of fish finding excellence. Find, navigate, dominate. And Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there.
Got it. Good one. Good one. Here we go. Got it. Good one. Good one. Here we go. Here he comes. Just a Lake Fork bass right there. Not big, but it's just a good chunk on a topwater. How about that for a blow up, boys and girls? That sucker came up there and annihilated that topwater bait right there. Well, welcome back. We've made it out, as you can see. It's early in the morning, and I'm actually doing something I've never done before. I am fishing the shad spawn. The threadfin shad are up in shallow water. They push up at night and they're spawning right up along the shorelines and the points. And the bass follow them up. And it's good for a couple of hours in the mornings on a topwater. And you can get some just spectacular blow-ups on topwaters. Look for blue herons and white egrets standing on little secondary points off the shoreline. They're feeding on those shad that have moved up overnight, and the bass are right behind them. Throw a topwater bait right up against the shoreline where those shad are spawning. You can catch a lot of bass, and that's a good start we're off to right there. Probably going to do a couple of other things today here at Lake Fork, but that's a good thing for right here early in the morning. Let's get you fishing in Lake Reports where you go.
This part of the program is brought to you by Visit Jacksonville. Northeast Florida offers great fishing, family-fun beaches, top restaurants and resorts that are easy to get to, and offer outdoor fun for everyone. So come on, visit Jacksonville. Well, fishing has been great up around Tybee Island, Georgia, near Savannah. Captain Brad Stewart tells me that the flounder are running 1 to 3 pounds. They're being caught on mud minnows under popping corks in very shallow water, 2 feet or less. This is moving tides. kind of mud bottom areas, and that's where the mullet schools are, and that's where the flounder are showing up. Offshore, Brad says the Hilton Head and Eagle's Nest reefs have been very good for cobia, sea bass, and triggerfish. King mackerel and Spanish mackerel fishing has been good for anglers trolling live baits or trolled spoons at about 5 to 6 knots with the spoons, a little bit slower with live baits. In Alabama, my good friend Jake Marcus says that spotted tea trout fishing has been great, but you got to find clear water. A lot of rain to the north in Alabama has discolored some of the parts of the bay, and you've got to get to where the clear water is in the lower bay area. And these trout are running big. They're 1 to 4 pounds. Catch them on topwater plugs, jigs, live shrimp. In Mississippi, it's trout around the islands. The fishing has been great for waders and early morning anglers drifting with topwater plugs and slow sinking lures as the sun comes up. Well, that's it for the Coastal South. A lot going on, and it's only going to get better. Get out in the water and take a youngster with you when you go.
This week's Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi Freshwater Report is brought to you by Southern Saltwater Fly Fishing Magazine. This destination-oriented e-zine covers the South Atlantic and Gulf Coast from Maryland to Texas and the Caribbean islands. Subscriptions are free at www.southernsaltwaterflyfishing.com. Now, the month of June is traditionally a good time for river fishing throughout the Deep South. So now is the time to try a float fish trip on one of these streams. Over in Georgia, the Chattahoochee River tailwater below Lake Sidney Lanier is a good place to catch some brown trout this week. The cold water coming off the bottom of the lake makes ideal habitat for these naturally reproducing fish. Now, most of the trout will be 12 to 14 inches long, but the hooch has given up some real monsters as well. In 2001, the river yielded an 18-pound, 7-ounce state record, but that fish was topped by a 20-pound, 14-ounce lunker in 2014. For the smaller browns, try throwing inline spinners or small spoons, and that should work well. But for the big boys, a minnow-shaped twitch bait tossed into deeper water around sunken logs is a ticket. Farther down the Chattahoochee near Columbia, Alabama, the tailwater below George Andrews Lake is giving up lots of 2 to 5 pound channel catfish this week. In Mississippi, the bluegill are still bedding on the deeper water of Lake Okesa near the town of Boog. Look for the abundant gravel beds to find those spawning fish.
Come up here, bass. Yeah. Watch this. Missed it. Wham! Boy, he blew up on that. Did you see that blow up on that top water? Come up here, bass. Yeah. There we go. Look how fat that one is in there, eating all those shad spawning in there on those willows. Show you something here real quick. Welcome back, everybody. We're on Lake Fork today, catching little fatties like that, blowing up on topwater baits. Look here behind me, see all those willow trees? And they come out in the water, and evidently these shad are spawning right in these real shallow willows right here in front. One of the things you've got to be sure and do on a topwater is let them take it. A lot of times they'll come up and miss it. And if you jerk and set the hook, you'll pull it away from them. So a lot of times if they miss it, you just leave it sitting there, keep reeling it or twitching it, and they'll come back and get it a second time. Typically that sun comes out and hits the water and it's all over with. You might as well go out and fish deeper. But this morning, the cloud cover seems to be keeping these fish in here a little bit longer. So we'll stay in here as long as they stay. But you can actually tell when they leave because everything just dies and the birds leave. But we've still got blue herons and white egrets feeding on these shad. As long as the shad are here, the bass will stay in here. Got them going on Lake Fork today, having a lot of fun. Time for more fishing reports for you.
How much value do you place on your tackle storage? Let me show you the best way I've found to protect your investment. That's the bait coffin from Bass Mafia. Your stuff won't get wet, it won't get damaged for as long as you own it. Check them out at mafiaoutdoors.com.
Thanks for joining us for the Tennessee and Kentucky Fishing Report. You know, it's really good here right now. Summertime, and it's all about summertime patterns. Bass fishing. Bass are primarily spawned out throughout the entire Tennessee and Kentucky region. The offshore bite is dominating all the tournaments, all the pleasure fishing. If you're gonna bass fish in Tennessee, I would go to Chickamauga because it's pretty awesome. Number 2 be Kentucky Lake, 3 would be Percy Priest is on fire right now. It is just insane the reports I'm getting from there. And here's the deal. Deep diving crankbaits, Carolina rigs, and big heavy jigs. You'll want to fish offshore structure where it goes from shallow to deep. Crappie fishing throughout the region is getting better. They're recuperating from the spawn. There's a lot of guys catching on pulling crankbaits right now. Fun way, easy way to catch a lot of crappie. The striper bite's getting better. The catfish bite's really good on the Cumberland River right now. That's kind of the hottest thing going. But don't let me forget bluegill on Reelfoot Lake. If you want to catch a big mess of big bluegill, Reelfoot's the place to be. We'd love to see you in Tennessee, Kentucky. God bless.
There's one. Oh, he's around the stump. Come around there. Come loose, buddy. There he came loose. All right, way out here off the point. There he comes up top. I've got him hooked kind of under the gill a little bit, so he's not going to be able to fight very well. Hit my crankbait. Oh, right on top of me. All right, there's just another good chunky fish. Well, we're on them. This has been a good morning so far. Just catching a lot of quality bass like that. Just a good, solid, good fighting fish. Real healthy, real fat fish, of course, eating all these shad in here. Here's a good lesson for you. If you're in here and you're catching them on top waters, like we've been doing, and they stop hitting the top water, go to something subsurface. Go to a spinnerbait. A little square bill crankbait is always a good option. Even a little shaky head worm, something like that, but something that'll get down. A lot of times they won't leave. You'll think they're done. You'll think it's all over with and they've moved out to deep water and they're still sitting there. They're just not hitting the top anymore. So go to something subsurface. Keep another rod handy. A lot of times you can just keep right on catching them. We're doing it today.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Lew's, fueled by passion, driven by innovation. Feel the difference. Gene LaRue Bass Baits and Bobby Garland Crappie Baits, the leaders in soft plastic lures innovation. And Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made.
There we go. Got the lily pad, the bass, the grass. Okay, so here is what these fish are in. Got it. I got one. Oh, and immediately around a big old lily pad. We've made a move, big move. We fished that shad spawn this morning until it finally just played out. Now we've made a move all the way back in some real shallow stuff in a bunch of green vegetation, willow bushes, and tons of lily pad fields. There we go. I got the lily pad, the bass, the grass. Okay, so here is what these fish are in. Big old lily pads like that, and this grass, and I think that's milfoil is what that grass is called right there. There he is, and he hung on for a long time. Skinny one. All right, back he goes. So let me explain something to you. It can be very, very intimidating to come out here in literally acres or miles of these lily pads and all this grass. What are you looking for? That's the cover, and you're looking for the edges of the cover. So if you have a thick clump of lily pads and then an edge, that's a good place. If the lily pads make a little point that comes out, that's a good place. Anything that's a change or an edge is what you're looking for. And the last thing you're looking for is holes or openings in the lily pads. So if you've got a real thick, big patch of them and you've got 2 or 3 little openings, 5, 6 feet in diameter, throw across those openings. Those are good spots. So you really have to kind of dissect the lily pad field down and find just the spots where those fish are going to be sitting, because they're not everywhere. They're just in certain spots. If you can find those spots, you can catch you some bass like that one. All right, let's get you more fishing and lake reports from your local area. Here's an insider reporter near you.
Hey folks, it's time for your Carolinas report this week, and I tell you what, brought to you by the Dead Dog Saloon, located on the Marsh Walk in Burroughs Inlet. You know, we're just south of the Grand Strand. If you're in the area, come down and visit. Here, it's always about the food, the view, and the music, and we're open 7 days a week for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Tell you what, freshwater side of things, it's June. It's National Take a Kid Fishing Month. Make sure you take a kid. If you've got a kid, take them. If you've got a friend that's got a kid that doesn't fish, take them. If you've got a grandkid, take them. It doesn't matter. Take a kid and get them out there. I'm telling you, the memories that you're going to make for yourself, not only that kid, are far better than anything you could imagine. Remember, Take them out there. A good thing to do right now is get a bobber with some crickets or a worm and go concentrate on shell crackers and brim. They're biting really good. They're in those areas. Any pond, rivers and lakes, you know where they spawn, they're there. Get on top of them and have a great day. Make sure you make a memory for a child this month. Also, the bass have moved out of that spawning mode. They're on bait fish right now. You get in those areas that are come off of those shallow flats where they were bedding, you're gonna find some big fish right now that are hungry. I tell you, I've had a lot of luck with creature baits lately. Anything that mimics a crawfish right now is producing some good catches. Get out there and have a good time. This has been your Carolinas Report, brought to you by the Dead Dog Saloon. Remember, fish smarter, not harder, and keep your chaos organized.
We got it. I've got one. We're still in this giant lily pad field, and really the only thing you can do once you get one of them is to turn on your trolling motor and plow through the pads and come up here and get the fish. Got braided line on. Look at this right here. Okay, I got him. How about that? I'm around the lily pad. They're very unforgiving, I can promise you that. And you better have some braided line on, like a 65-pound braid. That took some doing right there, and I had him really stuck good in the side of the jaw. That is a beautiful fat fish right there, blowing up on a frog, and I'm just sitting here thinking that this is some of the bassiest looking stuff I've ever fished in my life. I want to take just a quick 360 pan around us here and just show you. Look at all those lily pads, stumps, milfoil grass beds, literally just every bass holding cover you can possibly imagine. I will tell you that you can come do this if you'll just go in the kind of the backs of the bays and just drive around until you see these lily pad fields, and then just take your time, fish them real slow, be very patient, and something like that can happen. And you can see as we come on around, literally 360 degrees all the way around me is something that looks like it ought to hold a bass. And then sure enough, one just blows up on that frog. Oh man, I gotta calm down a little bit.
Be sure to join Fox Sports Outdoors again next week, Thursday night at 6, or catch the repeat airing Sunday morning at 8:30. And you can always watch the latest episode in full HD on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Plus, catch up on all past episodes by clicking the archive button. And see lots of our how-to and product videos by selecting the how-to button. Join our online fishing community. Just click the like button on our Facebook page for access to daily posts with lots of fishing news, videos, and frequent giveaways. And stay up to date with all the latest fishing information and photos by following our Twitter feed. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Motor Guide Trolling Motors. Motor Guide, because accuracy matters. And Excite Technologies, powering the world forward.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro question, your chance for advice from professional anglers. This week, Johnny wants to know, will a drop shot rig work in shallow water? For the answer, we asked 2016 Bassmaster Classic champion Edwin Eagers.
Hey, I use that drop shot all the time. I got one tied on in my boat right now. I'm gonna be fishing shallow water. Drop shot is a presentation that's a staple in my boat 365 days a year. You know, deep water fishing, I'm gonna have a longer tag, a bigger weight. Those things shorten up and get lighter the shallower I go. I've caught numerous fish this time of year on a drop shot in 1 foot of water as I'm sight fishing the fish. I see one swimming down a bank, I'll throw it 15 foot out in front of it, maybe bed fishing, maybe flipping stumps. It's a great pattern, you know, here in the Midwest, you know, on Lake Fork, Toledo Bend, Rayburn. You know, this time of year fishing for those deeper fish, but a drop shot's a bait that I'm gonna have tied on all year long, even in shallow water.
Thank you, Edwin. If you have a question to ask one of the pros, simply go to our website, follow the Ask the Pro link, and let us know. Now let's find out which big fish photo wins someone a brand new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
Hey everybody, back at the boat ramp, time right now for this week's winner in the Costa Catch of the Week contest. Someone wins free sunglasses. He's Gary Wolf of Morristown, Tennessee, showing off a 60-inch redfish he caught in the Atlantic off St. Simons Island, Georgia. If you'd like a chance to be our next winner, just go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, click in the Costa Catch of the Week area on the right side of the front page, and follow the instructions to enter your big fish photo. If you'd like to see all of the Costa frame and lens styles, go back to our homepage, click on the Costa logo, and you can see all of the frame styles and lenses there, including the frame style I was wearing on this week's episode. This one is called Tuna Alley. And speaking of Costa sunglasses, on today's gear feature, I want to show you the most recent pair of lenses that Costa has introduced to the market. They are the Sunrise Silver Mirror lenses. They're the ones I was wearing today, and they were made specifically for these conditions. When it's dark and overcast, cloudy, rainy, these are the lenses you want to wear. They literally let through much more light, and they brighten everything up, but yet still cut all the glare off the water. I could see underneath all those lily pads. I could see the subtleties of the grass beds, the dark coloration underneath. It really helps you know where to make that pinpoint cast. They are the brand new Costa Sunrise Silver Mirror lenses. Check them out at your retailer for days just like today when it's cloudy and dark and overcast. How flexible are you? No, I'm not talking about exercising flexible muscles and joints and those kinds of things. I'm talking about mentally flexible. Many of us love things to be constant, the same. Many of us like a little rut, a comfort zone to get into, and get plenty upset when things do change. But you know what? Life is not like that. Circumstances change. People change, things just change, and successful people learn how to roll with and adapt to those changes. As a matter of fact, one of my mentors says, sometimes change just for change's sake can be good. Two more quick things before we get out of here. First of all, if you want to book a great guide on Lake Fork, book James Caldmeyer. He's my good buddy for many years. You see his contact information on the screen, and he's idling out of the cove right now on a guide trip. But even more important, go look at his video and listen to his story on the I Am Second website. James is a great guy. You'll thoroughly enjoy it. You'll love his life story. Check it out, and you can also book him for a great guide trip here on Lake Fork. Also, if you want a great place to stay, you can stay where we are right now. That's at Lake Fork Marina and Resort. Great rooms, great lodge, great restaurant, camping, covered boat parking, boat ramp, everything you could possibly want in one location. Contact Lake Fork Marina at the information you see on your screen. From beautiful Lake Fork, Texas, until next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all. That's the biggest white bass I've ever seen. That's a solid 3-pound white. Never seen a 3-pounder. Golly. Look at that toad. That's a giant.